is one of the darkest ways to take the life of one's own parents. Not only is it rare, but also inconceivable to most. We just can't wrap our minds around someone committing such an awful crime against their own family. Today's stories make it even harder. Prepare yourself for these shocking recent stories of and at their most horrifying. 16-year-old Sierra Halseth's parents told her she wasn't allowed to see her 18-year-old boyfriend, Aaron Guerrero, ever again. In fact, his parents also agreed it was a good idea to keep the teens apart after their plan to run away to Los Angeles was discovered in 2020. Less than a year later, as Sierra's father's house went up in flames with his inside, Aaron's parents stood outside with Las Vegas police. They had a good idea where Sierra was, and it wasn't inside that house with her father. Sierra and Aaron were on the run. The first move police made was to call Sierra's mom, ex-Nevada State Senator Elizabeth Helgeline. She told them about some suspicious withdrawals from the joint account she held with Sierra's father, Daniel. She had tried to check with him, but he didn't return her calls. Elizabeth called a family friend to check on her ex-husband. After calling Sierra, the friend was told Daniel had broken his phone and was in the shower. But after several more excuses from Sierra, and then no answer at all, the friend went to check on Daniel himself and found his smoldering. Police learned that Aaron ran away from home the day before Daniel Halseth's house was set on fire. They found store camera footage showing him and Sierra buying gloves, saw blades, cleaning products, and ropes on the same day. From what police have been able to put together, sometime on April 9th, 2021, Aaron and Sierra her father. His autopsy later showed 70 sharp forces across the back of his skull, neck, and torso. Some pierced his lungs and led to his. Police found his in the garage of the burning home. They were able to put out the fire before it burned the entire house and found further clues to what happened. Investigators found several stained saw blades that matched a strange marking on Daniel Halseth's wrist, leading them to believe the teens tried to murder the girl's father before placing him in a sleeping bag and setting it on fire. Police knew the teens left the scene in Daniel's Nissan Altima and put out an all-points bulletin. A few days later, police spotted them in a train station in Salt Lake City, Utah, when they skipped the fare. Aaron produced his ID, and when Utah police ran it, they found he had an open warrant for the of Sierra's father, Daniel. Police took both teens into custody. In Sierra's phone, they found a chilling video that told them everything they needed to know.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. After day 3 after somebody.
Wow! The teens were extradited back to Las Vegas and are awaiting arraignments. Nevada law dictates both teens be tried as adults. A 19-year-old man in India, Asif Mehbub, grew angry when his father would not give the family property to him. The high school dropout was heavily into electronics, video games, and gadgets. Relatives say he regularly demanded money from his elderly parents. When his father refused to give him any more money, Asif made an unthinkable decision. In February of 2021, Asif placed sleeping medicine in the soft drinks of his father, mom, sister, and grandmother. He tied their arms and legs together as they slept and them. Afterward, he placed all 4 of his family members inside the water tank on their property. He left his older brother unharmed, but promised him the same fate if he were to ever leave the home. For 4 months, Asif ordered food through apps and avoided other family members. When neighbors asked him about his family, he told them they were out of town. Eventually, in June 2021, Asif's brother, Arif, was able to escape and alerted the police. Asif was arrested and fully admitted his actions. Police are still working to excavate the family and determine Asif's motives. Gregory Ramos was just 15 years old when he his mom, Gail Clevenger, after an argument over his bad grades. It was a horrific act no one expected. Gregory was an avid and accomplished martial arts student and spent a lot of his time as a member of a police youth group with plans to be a detective. No one, not even Gregory, knows exactly what set him off. Hours after the argument over his D grade, he waited for his mom to go to sleep and snuck into her room. He her until she lost consciousness and then left to get a wheelbarrow. He returned to find his mom was still alive. He put his hands around her throat again, this time for more than 30 minutes. After he carried out his plan, he called two friends, Dylan Seglerak and Brian Porras, for help. They carried Gail to a nearby church and hid her under a fire pit in the rear of the churchyard.
Around midnight, he allegedly sneaked into his mom's room and her.
Next, he staged a burglary at his home by giving his friends some electronics to hide and called the police. He left his mom's van running in the driveway and told police he believes someone had taken her against her will. It didn't take long for the police to find some flaws in his story, especially with the many scratches on his face, and he eventually confessed, telling police it took about 30 minutes to the life out of his mom. Seglerak and Porras were charged as adults with being accessories to a capital felony after the fact. Seglerak confessed and led investigators to the hidden property, and the Porras was released on bond, but Seglerak was denied bond because of concerns about his emotional health and because of troublesome relations in his family. In 2020, a judge set his bond at $200,000, but without family support, was unable to pay. Seglerak was sentenced to 10 years probation after spending 2 years behind bars. He was released in 2021. Porras' case is still in litigation. Gregory was sentenced to 45 years in 2021. Florida does not allow juveniles to be sentenced to life without parole. Crystal Brooke Howell was 17 when she aimed a shot at her dad, Michael Howell, and pulled the trigger as he napped in February of 2014. He never knew what happened. Afterward, she placed his in a plastic tub that she hid in a shed outside the 8-bedroom North Carolina cabin where they lived, and invited her friends over to party. The party lasted over a month. Crystal's friends moved in, and she spent Michael's money and drove his Land Rover to keep the festivities rolling. She installed a stripper pole in the kitchen and bought video games and pinball machines, all while her dad sat behind the house in a plastic tub. In March, Crystal packed her dad's Land Rover and drove to her mom's house in Georgia, saying her father had emancipated her. Her mom didn't believe it, however, and Crystal ended up in a Georgia motel room right about the time her dads were discovered. The friends she'd left back home were trying to move a pinball machine into the shed when they made the horrible discovery and called the police. Miss Howell had previously told her friends that her father had killed himself. Crystal was arrested the next day in her Georgia hotel room. Prosecutors stated that Crystal had planned her crime. Her father had caught her shoplifting and he'd lectured her on it. Later that same day, while she showered, she hatched and carried out her evil plan. The defense team cited Crystal's emotional health issues, but she was sentenced to 30 years behind bars in 2016. There's no doubt these teens were out of control, but do you think they got what they deserved? Let us know in the comments section. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe for more fresh news content.